Hello and welcome to Chinwag. I'm Kim from Pooches Galore.
And I'm Carla at 𝑾𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤.
And today we are talking about what we would teach as fundamentals,
Yeah, so
the very basics.
fundamentals of dog training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's potentially not what you're going to learn in a puppy class. Sit down, stay, lead walking, recall, leave it.
Yeah, what you think you want to teach your dog is often what you not what you actually need to
Yeah,
teach your dog as a beginnings.
yeah,
And I get that loads in puppy classes.
yeah.
When people say, yeah, when people are like, oh, can you give me an idea of what we learn? Can you give me a list of what we learn, like a tick list? And I'm like, we don't have a tick list because we just take the puppy that we've got and then we
Teach them what
find
they
the
need.
best way of, yeah, we teach what they need at the moment. And it kind of blows people's mind a little bit. I think they're like, yeah, but I want to have completed
Yes.
these specific
What is
things.
my syllabus?
Yeah, that's it. And I used to do a syllabus, and I was like, I don't like the syllabus, so I'm not going to teach it
My
anymore.
class, and I'll teach what I want.
That rules.
Okay, let's tell the people
Let's
the
tell the
non-syllabus
people.
syllabus that we think they should learn.
Yeah, and hopefully we agree.
I think we will. I think we
I
normally
think we
do.
will. Yeah, we do, to be fair. But we're going to start by going through the five freedoms. I think a lot of people won't have actually heard of the
No.
five freedoms.
So,
So they're the next level on, I think, from animal rights,
well,
right?
they're in law.
Yeah,
They're in the Animal Welfare Act of 2006. So they
yeah,
are legal that
legal
all animals
legislation.
should have this. Not related just to dogs, just
Yeah.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
Any animal that has welfare issues.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're quite an interesting list.
Mm-hmm.
I'll run through them quickly and then we'll break them down.
Break them down.
So it's freedom from hunger and thirst,
Mm-hmm.
freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, free from fear and distress, and freedom to express normal behavior,
Yeah.
which I think are definitely important.
Yeah.
Um, and some feel more basic than they should need to be, like freedom from hunger and thirst.
Yeah, but do you think for some people they need that level of basic for
Apparently
animal
so.
care?
I think
Yeah.
also if you don't put it on, it's um negligent, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like you don't feel like that's important, but it is. It just should be a given.
Yeah, and with the hunger and thirst, it's not just the fact that the dog has to, or well, let's just call a spade. We're only going to talk about dogs, aren't we? We're not going to go diverse on our species. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
that a dog should be fed regularly, it's that they have a species specific diet. So one that meets their individual needs.
Yeah.
So although I just said we're only talking about dogs, I think dogs are a little bit easier because they kind of eat anything within
Yeah.
reason. But we have a
Yeah.
tortoise and she has a very specific diet
Yeah.
that she needs to have. So it's making sure that
Yeah.
she has that diet. That's
Yeah. No curry for Belinda.
no curry for Belinda, no meat for Belinda.
Well, you
But
don't have any meat anyway.
definitely, no, but definitely a green bean.
A green bean, yes.
Her favorite food.
Does she eat broccoli?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Strawberries. She looks like she's like
Yeah.
massacred, like the strawberry juice is all around her face.
Please, can you take a photo of that? And
I've
please,
got a
can you send
video of
in?
it.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
The
I'll send.
killer tortoise on the loose.
Yeah, she does. She loves the strawberry, and it does look like she's eaten something. There's blood everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's just brought me so much joy today.
yeah. I'll send you the video. I'll pop it on Instagram. People can see it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So it's about having that species specific diet and having fresh water available at all times.
Yeah. And it's not even just species specific. So on the act it does say that it needs to be like relevant to their needs.
Yeah,
So if they're, it says puppies, senior, as long as it's appropriate for their needs, I think that's the important
yeah,
thing, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
puppies need different levels of protein and carbs to a mature dog, and then a senior dog needs different things as well. So yeah, making sure that they're
Yeah.
getting what they need at the right time of life.
Yeah, because it is a health concern otherwise. So
Absolutely.
yeah, on different schedules as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Scheduling's a funny one, I think, isn't it? Because again, every dog's different, so it's an individual dog.
Yeah, I used to know someone who would only feed their dog so many days a week because they felt in the wild they wouldn't eat every day. I was like, they also don't eat kibble, mate, but
Or sleep in a bed inside, or
yeah, there was a lot of things. I had a lot of issues.
interesting.
Yeah. We don't speak anymore, so that's fine.
Does he think that humans should also not eat
I
meals 3 times a day?
He's one of those
Because
people that
they
I
wouldn't in the
couldn't.
wild.
Yeah, he's one of those people I couldn't be bothered to argue with because it's just not worth my breath. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So Freedom from Hunger and Thirst. There was a dog training book that I quite liked it was quite a long time ago. And she suggested that dogs shouldn't have water provided overnight, which I kind of disagree with because they should always have access to water. I wouldn't necessarily put water out specifically, but I would also always want to make sure they have access to water. So she would be taking it up. It's to prevent puppies toileting overnight, which I do see the logic of, but equally, you can't deprive them of water. So
it's tricky. That's one thing that I've always been a bit like on the fence with as well, because I don't want them to feel stressed because they can't access water. But then also I'm like, well, are they just gonna trash it and their crate?
I think the thing is, you don't have to put like a litre of water in the crate, dear.
No,
you can just
limit
put
it.
like a centimetre in the bottom of a bowl.
Yeah,
they have access to water. They're probably not going to drink more than that. Most dogs don't drink overnight anyway. But it is there if they want it. If they want to trash it, it's not a massive mess.
Yeah, I remember when I like a bit off topic, but
I used to off topic.
I used to go out and feed some of the travellers' ponies that were left on verges nearby, and they wouldn't leave water down. They put some water in buckets down for them, and then I asked them why they wouldn't leave water for them, and they said because they just kick the buckets and they just fly over. And I was like, well, okay, so this is like welfare. It is welfare, but couldn't do anything.
No, but like in that situation, not saying you could do this because that was a different situation, but if you do have a situation where the dog is knocking over their bowl, or you can weight it down, you can attach it to the floor, you can get a suction like bowl and put it down. So there are ways. If you do have a dog who enjoys, and I'm always thinking of a golden retriever in this situation, who does love to paddle in their water, who does love to make a mess with it, who finds quite a lot of joy in playing in the water, you can do stuff to ensure they still have water all the time without your kitchen being flooded.
And raised water bowls, you can raise them inside crates as well. That's the other thing. I have seen people use rabbit water bottle feeders.
The bottle with the little
little ball on it on the end, and they lick it. I was like, dogs drink differently.
They scoop
rabbits.
I would not advise that.
No, I've never advised it. It just baffles me.
No, I know. Yeah. Not saying you'd advised it. I was just thinking of Stanley. He would die of dehydration. Not a chance in hell he would work that out.
But the amount of water they get out is so minimal. No.
Freedom from discomfort. So that is making sure that animals are housed in a suitable environment with a shelter, that they've got a comfortable resting place, and protection from extreme temperatures. I think in this country, the extreme temperatures are more likely to be too cold than too hot. For the kind of dogs who live outside. I don't come across many dogs that live outside. A few.
I was going to say, how do you come across them, and how do you feel about it?
It's not for me. It's not for me. I think I can only think of one dog that I've worked with who predominantly lived in an outdoor kennel, but it was an exceptional kennel. It was it had multi areas. It had like an inside area and an outside run, and it did go into the house, but predominantly lived outside. But the kennel was of a very good standard. I think when I think of dogs outside, I think of kind of border collies on a farm.
I've got one of our clients recently that came in as a farmer, and he has a border collie puppy who lives in the barn. So she's lived in the barn on her own since 12 weeks old, and that's how he raises all of his collies. And it took quite a lot in me to, because me personally is like I just want to cuddle it and make it not feel cold and whatever. But yeah, she had a closed barn to herself full of hay and hay bales and stuff like that, and apparently she was very settled and she liked it in there. I can't argue with it. And she was of good health. She was, well exercised, well looked after, well fed, and the love between them was amazing. So, all of those things in, I was like, yeah. And then the only other time is there's two lots of dogs, I guess, over my period of time I've been training that I've been like, yeah, okay. One of them is huskies. I've got a lot of huskies in my school, and I know a lot of them that would rather spend all of their waking hours outside because they just get too hot in houses. Like, they're outdoor dogs, most of them. So I know quite a few people that have had outdoor kennels built, and they are warm. They're good. They generally have more than one husky, so they're outside together, so they have that companionship. And they're just happier like that. And the other side is when you've got an international rescue who has been a street dog all their life and does not like houses, is not okay inside, but prefer to be outside, is just happier out there. And if they are happier outside, a happy dog is a happy life. So
that's it. Absolutely.
Just let them be out there.
Yeah, actually, when you were talking about that border collie in a barn, I was like, oh, actually, I did have a client who was very fortunate, had a lot of land in a stables, and brought over several dogs from Romania and kept them. And a lot of them were in a barn, but that barn was warm. It was loads of straw, and the dogs were much happier. Didn't like being in a house. So totally agree. So it's the suitable environment, isn't it? If Stan had to live outside, he would die in a day. Like, he would not survive it, not at all. I mean, like, that would not be a suitable environment for him.
He's got no fat on him. It would keep him warm.
He's got no fat on him, and he really loves the sofa. So but I do think the comfortable resting place is one that I do talk about a lot, making sure that the bed is appropriate for the animal or the dog or the breed that they have. Thinking along kind of your sight hounds, the really bony ones, or your elderly Labrador whose joints are all creaky, making sure that their bed is as super soft as possible, comfortable, somewhere that they want to rest, rather than a Labrador who's always lived on a sofa who now can't get on and off it without pain. And then they've got like a mealy bed on the floor because they've never really used it. That needs an upgrade, making sure that they're comfortable. It's really important.
That's like again with Labradors and Retrievers, I think the funny thing there is you can provide, like, you should always provide an appropriate bed for them regardless, but they will most of the time prefer the coldest room in the house on the coldest floor. And Charlie, I spent I think 75-80 quid on an orthopedic bed for him. He refused to lie on it. All he wanted to do is lie on the cold tiles in the kitchen. It's the only place he'd sleep. So I just couldn't
no, but that's it's them having that choice, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's the element of choice. You can lay here or you can lay there. It's completely up to you. Freedom from pain, injury and disease. I mean, we talked a bit about this last week on the TV show one, about behaviours being expressed because of pain. And I think instead of just seeing pain as my dog is limping, therefore they've hurt their leg, therefore they need to go to the vets, or they're vomiting, so they need to go to the vets, it's looking more holistically at the behaviours and everything that the dog is doing, as well as any kind of more physical symptoms. And being aware of behaviour being a symptom of pain.
I do find it really interesting. I do take the literal as well, that if you are creating pain intentionally by training, you are going against the 5 freedoms, which is legislation. So I don't know how I feel about that.
I know exactly how I feel. But I think I know exactly. I can't understand how shock collars, prong collars, and such are still legal in England.
They won't be one day, but
Well, they shouldn't be legal now. It was going through Parliament and then it got shelved. So
Yeah.
um yeah, it's a hell of a contradiction right there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's law, but also you can do it with no
Yeah.
ramifications.
Well, because going on from that, the freedom from fear and distress. So you're inflicting pain and causing fear and distress. So it's not just one element. It's, animals should be handled and treated in a way that minimizes fear and distress and should not be exposed to stressful situations. Well, I have thoughts about that one too.
How long have you got?
Oh, let's just get comfy, everyone.
Yeah, I'm just going to move my appointments.
So sorry, I'm on my way. Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how, if someone was electrocuting me on a regular basis, I think I would be in a stressful situation that was causing me fear and distress. I don't know how.
And if you didn't electrocute a dog on a regular basis and you did it once, but then it caused fear and distress every single time you did that activity with them because of the fear of the past pain, then you're still intimidating.
Absolutely. And when people say to me, well, do they say to me? When the people say, they don't really say it to me. Yeah, but now I just have to show them the shock collar. Like, yeah. The dog's now so scared of that they're just shutting everything down.
Yeah. And it's like the pet corrector sprays.
Yeah.
Fear, distress. It's like, and people will argue to the teeth, but like about the fact that anxiety and fear is real life. Like you will come across it, but like if you intentionally put that onto your dog, fine. But your dog will have to be resilient about some things in life, but that's just stuff that is just there. That doesn't need to be things that you are purposely developing, creating fear and anxiety around. Like that's different.
Totally. And I think that then links into the freedom to express normal behavior, because I often see pet corrector being used when a dog is expressing a natural behavior in a situation where it is undesirable, like barking.
Yeah.
So if you have a Dachshund that barks at the postman and you use pet corrector spray, I think you're ticking quite a lot of these boxes.
Yep.
Like being able to express normal behaviors that's going to be dog to dog specific as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what is kind of normal for one dog is not necessarily going to be normal for another. And a lot of the time, some behaviors that we're asked to help with are dogs just doing normal dog stuff, just in an environment where it's not really appropriate or suitable or wanted.
According to humans.
So like barking, digging, reactivity,
chasing,
prey drive,
hunting.
Yeah.
Pulling on the lead, huskies pulling forwards.
Yeah.
They are. We bred them to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We asked them to do that, and now you are, putting a tool on their necks to stop them, and it's confusing. It's conflicting.
Yeah. So I think that when I talk to puppy owners, I will talk about normal behaviors that I know people don't like.
Yeah.
Because I think we have to frame them slightly differently. And I think this goes back to your point earlier where you were saying you don't have a syllabus for teaching specific behaviors, because if you've got a husky, a dachshund, a cockapoo and a retriever in a class, they're all going to have very different needs.
Yeah.
That don't all fit into the sit down, stay, leave it, drop it, loose lead walking, come back.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of my last puppy groups was 3 terriers and a husky for puppy classes, and I scrapped everything.
Yeah.
I can't do my butt sniff say hellos with 3 terrier puppies and a husky puppy. Like they couldn't access calm greetings in that way because it's not in any of them to be able to do it.
We don't do this.
So we didn't do that.
No.
We just worked on, can you see another puppy moving and not get yourself so fizzed up that you feel the need to bark and chase it? Yeah, brilliant. That's going to help you later on with your training.
Yeah.
And you're not going to chastise your dog for the barking, because that's, you know, with terriers, how they communicate with you. They're like, Mama thing moved in the bed. What you did? And you're like, oh yeah, well done. You're a terrier. That's what you do.
I think that's it. And that's one of the things when we were discussing like this topic before, my thing that I love people to learn with their puppies more than anything else, just do nothing.
Yeah.
Do nothing.
Yeah. Settling,
see another dog.
Settling. Calm.
Don't do anything. Yeah. In a coffee shop, do nothing. See people walk past, do nothing. Like that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Compared to teaching them to sit, which is possibly my least favorite thing to teach. I can't remember the last time I taught a sit, actually.
No, I don't teach it in classes.
I don't teach it in classes, and I don't teach it for anything that I generally do. If I'm going to teach anything, it'll be a down, because I think it's way more useful. I think sits are problematic for a lot of breeds.
Yeah.
I think that anatomically, there's a lot of breeds that really struggle with it. Like the bony bum of a greyhound or a whippet learning to sit. That's not fun.
No.
And you have
or the undiagnosed dodgy legs of a Labrador.
Yeah, exactly. So so my big thing when I'm starting out with, apart from like if I'm doing puppy training, like the house training and the nipping and biting that is always paramount, is definitely teaching puppies just to do nothing.
Yeah.
And reward it.
Yeah, so this is something that I put into my gun dog training. I think it's really important because I get so many spaniels come through.
Yeah.
And I had a guy in the last group who he graduated with his little spaniel, and they're very busy.
Yeah.
They're very busy dogs. They don't want to stand still. Standing still is not productive for their minds and bodies. No. So we literally just did a steadiness exercise where we walked around the field with him for like 5 minutes. And I was like, just meander, stop every so often. And any time he chooses to sit or stand still by himself, I want you to mark it and throw a treat out to him. So I want you to sort of reward the steadiness and the stillness. And we do that in gun dog as well. So that's a good one for a dog that needs to move a lot. Yeah. That's your starting point. But actually just being able to like sit in the car boot with them at a park, even if before vaccinations, is a great thing to do. Take a snuffle mat, take a Kong if you need to, or something to chew, or just sit there and stroke them and let them watch the world go by and get confidence that way.
Yeah, totally. We put a lot of emphasis later in the dog's life about teaching them to come away from or stop doing something around a certain stimulus. So coming away from dogs rather than just bounding up to them, the kind of, it's okay, my dog's friendly type thing. Instead, if we work harder when they're little about, it's cool, it's a dog, that's ace. We want them to be friendly, we want them to be pro-social, but we don't want them to be so pro-social that they can't not go and say hi.
Yeah, can't contain themselves a little bit.
It's about teaching them that it's a dog, that's cool. Oh look, this dog's friendly and wants to play, okay, go and have a play. Or actually this dog's a no, let's move on. It's working with that and rewarding, actively rewarding the nothing, because a lot of the time what happens is we want our dogs to stop doing stuff, but we don't acknowledge it when they don't do it. So when they don't run up to the dog, we go, well, of course, that's the expectation, so we don't reward it. And so the dog goes, actually it's more fun to run up to the dog, because if I don't run up to the dog, nothing good happens. But if I do run up to the dog, I get something good does happen, I get to play,
or I get recalled back and get a treat. So there's more good consequences for me if I act than if I don't.
Whereas if we go, oh, that was really good, you didn't go up to that dog, brilliant, here is, let's have a game ourselves, or let's have, here's a reward, depending on obviously the situation and the environment, then that's going to be like, okay, cool, that was good too.
And it's the on the 5 freedoms there, with the expressing normal behavior, it is being able to have company with animals. So this whole idea of teaching only neutrality is really hard if that dog doesn't like dogs, or is petrified of dogs, or is proactively going out of their way to sort of offend. But that's fine. Like, teaching neutrality is a first step in the direction of getting that dog being more comfortable around dogs. But if you've got a dog that is very pro-social, and you constantly remove that ability just because they're barking or because they're excited or whatever, and you want to teach neutrality because they're pro-social, like you're taking away something from them that they have a right to have if they want it. So it's not to say you should let them run up to every dog or you have to let them greet everything, but you do need to provide outlets for the social experiences for them.
It's about balance, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You know, knowing the situation. It's about teaching your dog, hopefully a puppy, that they can't play and can't engage with every single dog, and that's a good thing. And teaching them that certain dogs are going to be great playmates, and that's a good thing as well. And it's having that built in from the beginning, rather than, and I think partly this is kind of the socialization element has gone too far, where there are puppy parties, there are puppy classes where it's off lead, free for all, running around, engaging because we have to socialize our puppies with other dogs. And that then creates this behavior of see a dog, play with a dog. And then that's what gets us into trouble. Whereas polite greetings, learning to ignore is really powerful because you have the balance of the play as well.
Or if a dog only goes to daycare to socialise and doesn't see dogs outside of that, if you then go somewhere with dogs where they're on lead, you get lead frustration. Because they see a dog, they associate it with crazy play and rough and tumble. So,
and you will see that from owners who say, my dog walker reports that they're fine in the group. At daycare, they don't have a problem with my dog. When I walk them, this is the behaviours I see. They lunge, they bark, they look really aggressive. And it is that frustration from the dog's point of view that I see a dog, I play with a dog. And I don't know what to do with myself when I can't do that.
And I'm not anti-daycares. I've worked along them, and I think some really good ones out there. And for a lot of dog owners, it's a massive help. But I do think you need to do both. You need to do the lead walk, you need to do the paired play, you need to do the buddy walks where the dogs are both on lead and they get used to just existing by each other. Or the daycares, potentially, if you choose one where they do calm time and downtime, where they don't constantly ball chuck, and you know what I mean, it's a bit more relaxed
and it's supervised. I think supervision's a huge thing, but I'm past the puppy and stuff like that, and free for all puppy, I've spoken to owners and they've gone to a certain puppy class around here who's been going a very long time. They have puppy socialization, which I will use fairly loosely, classes with 20 plus dogs in, all let off the lead.
Got one that does the same.
I think every area's got one, haven't they? Like kind of, and I'll say, okay, so what did your dog do? What did your puppy do when they were all off the lead? And you'll get various things, often quite breed specific. You'll get that they hid under my chair and wouldn't come out. Okay, we're just not teaching your dog to be fearful, because you can't do that, but effectively you get the my dog chased every other dog barking its head off. You'll get the my dog was like pouncing on all the other dogs, and I'm like, oh, lovely. It's very rare that you get, they were really polite, they went up to this other dog, they had a little butt sniff, and they did a nice little play bow, and then they played, and they mirrored each other's body language, and they had little play breaks, and none of that.
There's very rarely any feedback from me where they say, the person running it was commentary through it, helped us. It's just they'll have to learn, let them out into the wild. And you are so right with the breed specifics, because we get loads of them come from this other school, if you like, over to ours, and it's usually the terriers nipped because they were so freaked out. The collies hid under the chairs by their owners. The Labradors went in too hard and had to be put on a lead, and the German Shepherds got banned because they were barking so much the teacher couldn't hear.
And the Lhasa Apsos humped everyone.
I've not had that.
Oh my god, no. I could almost put money on it.
Really?
Lhasa Apsos, they get really overwhelmed. They don't quite know how to behave, and then they go, I just hump you.
I've not had that.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. It's all very the same, and when you hear it again, you're like, what's your breed? Did this happen? What did your dog learn from those sessions? And they go, and it's like, sit. but they couldn't do it because they were too excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave it. Did it work? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So I know I touch on this a lot when we talk, but because I assess for the APDT, part of that assessment is that they have to be able to run a class of generally 6 unknown dogs. And when I was kind of assessing the most, they were run at Dogs Trust venues. And so a lot of them were ex-Dogs Trust dogs. So you really didn't know what you were getting.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Adult dogs or puppies?
Anything, literally, you could get anything. So in your assessment class, I think they had to be 16 weeks old. So they had to be like an older puppy. You couldn't have like a 12-week-old puppy in. So you could have a 16-week-old chocolate Labrador in your class, up to a 16-year-old Border Collie, and literally anything in between. I don't think there would be a 16-year-old Border Collie, but yeah, it could literally be anything. Literally, I had in my assessment, I had a chocolate Labrador. I love chocolate Labradors, but they are the Labrador that doesn't work. Generally.
Slightly.
You don't see them on a shoot very often.
No.
I had this chocolate Labrador, and like, you are so nervous going into this assessment, like so unbelievably nervous. You have to teach 3 things. You have to teach a down, loose lead walking, and a leave it. And you have to teach for an hour, and you don't know what you've got in your class. So, and you have to show progression on every exercise.
Right.
I had this chocolate Labrador, and I clocked it as soon as it walked in, and I was like, oh man, you are going to cause me problems today. Because also I had so much stuff. I had snuffle mats, I had engagement, I had toys, but you are on your own, like, and you don't know what you're walking into. And I teach classes in a really relaxed way. They're really chill. You can go for a walk outside, you can come back, like, they're really relaxed. But obviously when you're being assessed, you don't think like that.
No.
So every single demonstration, I dragged this chocolate Labrador to the front. Mate, you can't settle near your chair. You're driving everyone else mad. You and me, we're going to work together.
Yeah, use him as a demo dog. That's what I do in every class. The noisy one, I hold a treat in front of its face and I go, right, you're going to be the one that is demo, because when you're demoing, you are busy and you're quiet. Yeah.
I'll always remember this. And so after you do your practical assessment, you do an oral exam where you have to justify your class, essentially. And they said, I can't remember what the dog's name was, but like, you kept working with the chocolate Labrador. Why did you do that? And I said, because it was a nightmare. I said, because it was going to cause me the most problems. It was really difficult. The owner couldn't hold on to it by its lead. I was like, so it's easier if I have it. I can demo with it. I can keep it working. It keeps my rest of my class much calmer, and I've got more control over the situation than otherwise. Thinking, I've passed or failed on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I passed, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah. It worked.
Yeah. But it is interesting, like, watching people manage classes is really interesting. Like, class management, like, I would always pull out the trickiest dog. Or like when you say, right, we're going to teach a leave it now. And then you get someone who like laughs because they just think, oh, my Labrador's never going to leave a treat. And I'll be like, cool. Out you come. Yeah. I'm going to use your dog because I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to prove a point. Absolutely.
And I do think that class management, whether you're doing a off-lead puppy interaction bit or whether you're doing like a more formal loose lead walking, it's watching that class management, because if you've got doing loose lead walking with 6 dogs you don't know, you need to make sure they're not walking towards one another at any point. You can't have that interaction either, because you're not quite sure how it's going to go.
I think something that really helps me is prep. So if I know a bit more about the dogs, I'll always assume that there's going to be at least 2 out of 6 that are not going to be all right being approached, even though I've said your dogs have to be comfortable in the environment with dogs. There's always going to be a couple that come to a new space with new dogs and they're like, So I'll always assume that, and there will be stuff around that I can quickly chuck on the floor, or stuff that is like emergency food because someone will have bought rubbish treats, or I just need something,
or bought 3 treats for the hour-long class.
Yeah.
Cool,
And then
cool.
wherever we train, there will always be a gate or a door somewhere near a space so that if I need to evacuate a dog quickly, I can do it. Or I can say, look, here's a tabled off area with a bit more visibility
Yeah.
at one side of it, so you can use this. Or
Yeah. And by doing that, you are teaching the owner that they can leave a situation at any time. And I think that's another really important fundamental thing for dog owners to learn, especially first-time dog owners, is it is always okay to walk away from a situation. It's always okay to take you wherever you are, whatever you're doing. It is always okay to say, not for us today, let's go.
Yeah, because a human also working in extreme anxiety is not a human that can learn either. It's just, I don't want people to feel that stressed about coming back to one of my classes if they feel trapped in it. So
no. And also that works then if you're in a coffee shop. I'm a big believer in when you start taking puppies out and about, as a massive coffee drinker, you should take them for coffee. And I always say to people, get your coffee in a takeout cup and then you can leave at any point. If you pay £4 for a coffee, which is pretty much how much they almost are now, you don't want to leave the coffee. You want to finish it and you don't want to rush it. You're not kind of wanting to knock it back. You want to sit and enjoy your cappuccino with your dog. If you get that in a takeout cup, if things start to get too busy, if your puppy isn't coping particularly well, if they're showing signs of stress, you can just go drink your coffee on the move. And that removes a lot of stress and anxiety and makes it more accessible for people to do. So not only is it teaching this kind of rewarding the nothing kind of calm behaviors that we take for granted, it's setting the environment up so you can make it easier for yourself at any point along the way. And you know, thinking it through, that prep you were saying about teaching a class, you can do that with your own dog. You can go, right, I'm going to go to, I use the Cafe Nero in Harrogate because it's the biggest space I've got for a coffee shop. I can generally get a seat quite near to the door. It's also an environment, if the dog barks, it's not going to be frowned upon too much, whereas in some of the more like boutique coffee shops that wouldn't go down so well in Harrogate. Who knows? So, you know, thinking it through, like what do I want to do? What am I trying to achieve? Where can I do it? How am I going to get out of that situation if it doesn't work?
And I even go like, I'll go one step further. Obviously I do more classes than one-to-ones, but I'll go one step further in, I have a group WhatsApp for all of my classes that I set up a few days before, and I will tell them what the setup is, what to bring, what to expect, how to treat others in the group, how far away to maintain a distance. And then what I've started doing now, especially with my older dog groups, is they leave the dogs in the cars, humans will come out and they'll come and talk to me, and I'll spend 5 minutes talking to them so that we can all hear everything, and then they feel a bit better about getting the dogs out, and I'm not trying to tell them and organize them while their dogs are barking and getting overexcited. And that is so much better. Like, it's just like everyone just feels a bit more ready to do the session. And I think a lot of people feel embarrassed when their dogs are doing these behaviors, and I'm like, first thing I say is, I expect barking, I expect silly behavior. I love dogs that are a little bit naughty, that, you know, I'll put that as a positive spin on there. It will work with it, and we're here to support each other. So if you just need to take 5 minutes with your dog, go out. If it helps them, brilliant, bring them back in again.
Absolutely. It's all about expectations, preparation, and rewarding what you like. If you do one thing with your puppy, just if they do something and you like it, reward it. Whatever that might be.
Absolutely.
And behaviors that get rewarded get repeated.
So if we can give anybody one bit of advice, and I do this on walks sometimes, I'll tell people, when on your next walk you need to do this. You go out in a nice quiet place and you give no cues to your dog unless you're in an emergency situation where you really need to get them out of there. The only thing you're allowed to say is your reward marker. So a treat's about to come to you, or like just say good or something like that. And you're going to keep your eyes like hawks on your dog and everything around you, and everything you like, you're just going to reward, even if that's your leaders become loose for a millisecond. Brilliant, got it. Your dog sits still or sniffs something instead of looking up. Brilliant. You just click everything you like.
Absolutely. Just really watching for it. It's amazing how much your dogs will do really well if you start looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
excellent.
Definitely.
Well, I think that that's a lot for people to. I'd love if people could go out and just do a 30-minute walk, don't cue your dog, take millions of rewards with you, and do exactly what Carla just said. Watch for stuff, mark it, reward it, and let us know how you get on with that. That'll be fascinating.
Yeah.
Fab.
Awesome.
See you next week.
See you next week.